Hi, my name is Steven.
It is I, Kevin.
And I am David, the eldest champion.
And we are the Brothers Born.
We invite you to bear witness as this most unlikely of throwdowns is about to commence.
Welcome back to Unlikely Throwdowns. This is Steven talking. Today I am the judge of this throwdown that's about to take place. Not too long ago, Kevin was the judge. He had David and I do Stormtrooper and Cobra Trooper from G.I. Joe. And I thought that since Kevin took two franchises he loves dearly and made us use characters from there, I would do the same. So I've assigned Kevin and David each a character or a type of character that they will share with us, and we're going to put them against each other.
So is it wrong that I kind of think I might have an idea what David's character is just based on the fact that it's two franchises that you love and you're a huge nerd?
Probably. You probably do know what it is,
Steven
but
knows a lot. Steven loves a lot of franchises.
I do love a lot of franchises.
So you might have a good shot at it, but he does have a lot of different ones he's
That's true.
partial
That's
to.
true.
So
All
who
right.
wants to go first?
I'll let Kevin go first this time
Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
because I don't think I'll be able to guess. Based on my knowledge of Steven's franchises, I probably won't be able to guess yours, but
I think you will, maybe.
go ahead.
All right. So this character first appeared in a novel that was published in 1999. The author of the book states that they were inspired by the author's own bout of depression when they came up with this character. It's also inspired by the Grim Reaper and other Spectre type characters, such as and Steven, you're gonna help with this because I can't remember. I can't pronounce it. Nazgûl from Lord of the Rings.
That is correct. You said it correctly.
All right. And it first appeared in the third book of a series. Any guesses yet, David?
Nope.
All right. Well, I can go into some like
1999.
yeah.
Dude, what was really popping in 1999 as far as
Think of how huge a nerd Steven is with his trips to um what is it, Universal and all that.
why does that make me a nerd? It's like it's normal thing to go there.
Something
Because
from Harry
these types of
Potter.
nerds are some of the worst nerds. That's
I'm
why.
not one of the people who's going around getting robes. I bought a wand, all right? Give me a break.
I was just gonna say something from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It is from Harry Potter.
But I can't tell you what.
It's from the third book. The third book is Prisoner of Azkaban.
The only one I read was the first book, and I did that for
Um,
Steven, and then I didn't do any more.
That was so nice of you. Now your boys have read some of them, right?
They've read all of them, I think, but
Okay.
they're over it now, though.
I've read all of them. Dude, Goblet of Fire is fire.
It is good.
I'm gonna
That's
say
the best one.
Dobby.
No,
No, definitely not Dobby.
but just start with a D.
I'm gonna say those chess pieces. Oh, that's from the first book. I don't know, man. Lord of the something from you mentioned Naz whatever. That's from Lord of the Rings. All I can really tell you is you're talking about Harry Potter, but that's
Uh,
all I can
all
really
right, fine. Giving up, that's fine. Steven, go ahead. Do the
It
honors.
is the Dementor.
I don't know who that is.
So there's multiple Dementors. They're oh Kevin, it's your character. Sorry, I don't mean to step on your toes.
Yeah, I'll get into it.
But
All right,
yes,
go ahead, Dave.
Dementors.
You want me to go now?
Yes, please.
My people are also from or person or whatever, are also from a franchise that Steven loves, obviously. I like this franchise too, but I haven't really done much with it since like maybe 20 years ago. So a lot of my memories faded. But at one point I really liked this franchise. Um my character was first observed around 2251 in the second age of the timeline of this franchise. Um Originally they were righteous, powerful leaders, um good people overall, but they became servants to the main villain from this franchise. And when the main villain starts to come into power in the third age, 1300 of the third age, um, these guys start to become more powerful. Any ideas yet?
I'm assuming it's from Lord of the Rings.
It is from Lord of the Rings. Yep.
Yes, correct.
They have lots of names. I can give you some of their names, but that'll probably give it away. Um, Sometimes they're just called the Nine. They're called the Nine Riders, the Dark Riders.
Is it the Nazgûl from Lord of the Rings, like I just
You
said?
already mentioned in your
Yes.
I totally knew that's what it was gonna be. Like as soon as Steven gave me the Dementors, he was like, "Man, it'd be cool because these two characters are gonna be kind of similar." I was like, "Oh, it's those dudes from Lord of the Rings."
Just like your Cobra Trooper, Stormtrooper, they're like similar. So I'm like,
well,
oh,
I
Yeah.
thought I knew Kevin's, but I also thought Foot Soldier could have been in there somewhere from
oh
Ninja
yeah.
Turtles. But
Well, there's a third one I would include if we had it from the Wheel of Time. There's these things um called the Half Men that are like also hooded creatures, but
hmm,
it's okay. We'll stick with the two that most people do know. Um, so Nazgûl versus Dementors. Man, now to be fair, this is not so much an unlikely throwdown. I'm almost certain someone has discussed this already on the internet somewhere, but I thought it would be a fun thing to entertain. So
but
let's
Now,
it's
take a
unlikely from the fact that they're from two different universes
yeah,
or
yeah.
franchises.
now
But
I will say, even though I did kind of already know what Dave was doing going into, I didn't look up any information on Nazgûl, because I didn't want to be like, give myself an unfair advantage, so to speak.
Yes. Oh, I appreciate that. Let's take a quick break.
I
Let's
didn't look up anything on them either. Was I supposed to?
no on the Nazgûl or
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Ha.
all right, let's take a quick break and then we will see what happens.
Hello there. Do you like the sound of my voice? That's a stupid question. Of course you do. And because you love my voice so much, you probably want to hear it with more clarity. Well, good news. You can help make that happen. You see, having access to better equipment means better quality, but better equipment is expensive. By donating some funds our way, you can help us improve the equipment we have and help us with any fees and the like we accumulate while producing content. We have 3 tiers of donation available. First is a monthly payment of 99 cents. Tier 2 is a monthly payment of $4.99, and our third tier of monthly payment is $9.99. To make donations, follow the link embedded in this episode's notes. There is of course no obligation, and you can still listen to our content for free. But if you love my voice, as well as those of my bros, or if you just want us to have a better looking site, we would welcome your support. Thank you in advance, and please enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back to Unlikely Throwdowns. That was a nice break. I feel refreshed.
I do too.
Yeah, I feel
Took
great.
care of some business during that break. I don't know about you
Yes.
guys.
I didn't do anything. I just took a nap.
But let's get back into it. Dementors versus Nazgûl. Why don't we start with Dementors?
All right, I'm just gonna kind of go in some more physical description here first. So they're described as being a gliding wraith-like creature. It's considered one of the foulest or darkest creatures to inhabit their world. So cool. About 12 feet tall with a humanoid shape, covered in long robes and a hooded cloak. They have gray skin that appears slimy and decayed like a corpse. When they breathe, they emit a rattling sound. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Um, I don't know. How does that sound? I don't even know how that sounds.
Maybe it just sounds like they're congested.
Uh,
I don't know.
um, they also emit an aura of cold, and when they're clustered together as a group, they can be seen as a mist. They're described as having empty eye sockets and a gaping large hole where their mouth should be. That's
Oh
frightening right
man.
there, dude. Can you imagine like looking at somebody instead of like a giant gaping hole where their mouth is supposed to be? I mean, I guess your mouth is a giant gaping hole, but I mean
It
like bigger
is.
than normal. Um,
Just one
they're
mouth.
also considered genderless, and rather than breed,
Oh,
they seem to grow like fungus wherever there is decay.
so
That is
they're
an exact
woke.
quote.
Actually, I was wondering before I was pondering this the other day. How the heck do Dementors reproduce? Now, I guess I know. So there's a there's a fungus. So they're almost are they like they propagate themselves and grow off
I,
of
dude, I didn't
things?
look that much into it. I know that was one, and the other thing was there was a theory that when a Dementor performs one of its signature moves, that the person that they destroy or whatever can also become a Dementor, kind of like a zombie. But I only
Oh,
saw like one mention of that as a theory, not like a definitive like this is what actually happens. So I really still have no idea what that means. Like, oh, they grow like a fungus. How does I don't know.
So you wonder, like, because I was thinking about, Dementors going on dates and
Uh-uh.
trying to court one another, but I guess that's not how it's done in Dementor world. So that's terrifying, though. They got yeah, dude. That's her whole thing. She had some depression, J.K. Rowling, and she came up with this creature. So
Physical form. My dudes, you can't see them unless you're Steven's gonna correct me, and I'm trying to remember from mine. But unless you're wearing a ring, you can't really see them. Normal humans and normal whatever inhabitants of this elves, goblins, not goblins. Elves, dwarves, humans, and they can't really see them, right? Unless they're wearing the ring. Um, but they wear black robes to take shape. They also ride horses. The horses are real life horses, um, and I believe can be seen. Am I
yeah, I
right?
think they can't be seen, but like because they're wearing the cloaks, like they basically the average person without just sees like a hooded figure. They
Right,
don't.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but people can see the horses,
But
right?
but Frodo, when he wears the ring, he can see them, and yeah, and you
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
the
That's
horses. Yeah,
whenever you wear the ring. They wear dark robes. They wear ride horses. They don't really. They're invisible to the naked eye, I guess. Let's see. As far as how they look, that's pretty much it. They're kind of scary looking. They carry swords, um, and you can sense them a lot of time, but you can't see them unless you have on one of the rings. They don't have big holes in their mouths, but they do look like in the movie. They look like pretty zombified when they show them how they really look. The leader of them's name is the Witch King, and the picture of him in the movie is kind of freaky looking.
yeah. The Witch
Um,
King Angmar.
yeah, and then
Nerd.
there's another one that they name that is like the Eastling or something, and then the other ones never get named in anywhere in the books. So that's how they look, I guess.
So we're both dealing with hooded figures.
Yeah, and that can't really be seen. Mine, like yeah, hooded dark figures, I guess. So yeah,
So
so they're very similar in physical appearance as well.
that's kind of what I think I thought of this idea.
Do
I thought,
yours do yours ride horses or some other kind of mythical creature?
No, man, dude, they just glide. They
Mine
float
were,
around.
I found out the horses that they ride can't, they have to be bred by Sauron. They can't just be regular horses because most animals fear the nine. And sometimes their horses are winged horses, if I
ooh,
was correct in my research.
Winged horses. That's what's up. No, Dementors don't wear horses.
I'm glad they don't
Wear
wear horses.
horses. They
I'd
don't
be
ride horses. They just sort of glide around, doing their thing, making people very uncomfortable.
yes. Well, this is good so far. I feel cold right now as you speak about your characters.
I'm going to tell you about their history in a little bit, and then if Kevin wants to, we can too. But the
Um,
nine, the Nazgûl, they're former Manish kings. They were originally noble rulers and, righteous dudes, and they were corrupted by the power of these rings that the Dark Lord gave them. Um, if you whenever they put the rings on, they became more powerful. At first, if you're evil, you automatically go into that, okay, once I wear the ring, I'm bad. But sometimes, even if you're a good person, if you wear the ring enough, it wears you down and you become evil as well, which we know is what sort of happened to Frodo for a while. So these dudes were pretty much noble, righteous dudes at first, but then they got greedy when they got these rings because they felt like they could have whatever they want and have this power that they didn't have before. So originally good dudes, and they were deceived by the evil, dark power. Kind of like, you know, on Earth already, us, when we're deceived by Satan.
all right. I didn't actually get a lot of information on a history of in universe history of my characters. Um, the reason why is because I was trying to look some of stuff up, and then I saw there was like thousands of pages of history on these guys, and I was like, you know what? I'm too lazy to read all this.
Mine had mine had a lot
So
too.
so I didn't bother. But they are like the guards at the prisoner at Azkaban. They're like the perfect guards because of basically what their abilities are. Like the prisoners they don't really need, I think they say something like they don't really need walls or anything like that because the Dementors are enough of a deterrent from these prisoners from like trying to escape just because of they just make people feel really terrible.
What about
Um,
the like the who cooks for the prisoners at Azkaban? The Dementors like in a
The
kitchen?
Dementors, I think. Well, I know the Dementors. I know the Dementors do some of the physical labor around the prison. Um, like if one of the prisoners dies, then the Dementors are the ones that dig the graves and stuff for him. So they
Huh.
have the capability of like, performing tasks like that.
Interesting. The
So they have
Dementor
different
order
I don't
them.
know if they cook
classifications
for
of
him or not.
Dementors.
I feel like they probably do because
Dementor with
I
a
don't
little
know.
chef's hat. That'd be awesome.
It's
Little
kind of
chef's
like
head on a Dementor
it's kind of
sitting
like
here
my
cooking
Copa
up.
Vipers last time. They have different jobs that they do. There's a cook viper. There's a they
Yeah,
have different
I
positions.
don't think there is a cook viper. Is there? Was there a cook viper?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had a whole
using
thing
the
about it.
comics.
That's right.
Anyways, I digress.
So I don't have much
Well,
about the history, but I can give you some of their abilities real fast, and then
you want to shoot off some abilities, and then I'll answer
actually I'll
mine.
probably just go. They don't have a whole lot going on here, to be honest.
But what they do have is pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Well, let me hear it. I imagine it's somewhat
All
similar
right.
to my guy's abilities.
So their biggest thing is they're able to sense and feed on positive emotions of humans. So they force victims to and it when they do this, their victims are forced to relive their like worst memories and like their nightmares and just you know like depressing stuff. Um, their very presence makes the surrounding atmosphere cold and dark. This affects increases proportionally to the number of Dementors present. So the more Dementors you have, the colder and darker your environment's going to get. Um, the same with like any negative emotional effect that you get. Just and keep in mind this emotional effect of reliving your worst nightmares and stuff is just when they're in the room with you, like they're just in near you. They're not even necessarily attacking you or whatever. And the more of them there are, the more that effect is like increases. Um, and they're a creature that's capable of draining a wizard of all his powers through prolonged exposure. So the longer you're around these guys, the less power you end up having. And then,
Know that.
so that right away, like that, as a wizard, man, that kind of sucks, right? Like,
They better stay
can't
away
use
from
my
Gandalf.
power. I'm really sad and upset all the time, and I can't really do anything because these Dementors are around. This is why they're able to be prison guards at Azkaban. Uh, and then they have their signature move called the Dementor's Kiss, and this is their ability. They suck out the soul of the victim, leaving them as an empty shell with no um they have no chance of recovery. So once you've been kissed by the Dementor, you're just gone, Dunzo. You're Gonzo. You can't do anything. All your soul's gone, basically. Um,
You're in like a comatose state almost. Huh?
yeah,
You can't come back from that, man.
you can't.
Um, I
But
know
my
there are a lot
question
of,
is,
you said there's a
what
lot of
about
these dudes.
what about when it, like what is it heart? What is it called when they like the person can divide their soul into
The
different objects?
Horcrux?
Yeah, Horcrux. Like, so can they drain like a Horcrux? And
Oh no. Sounds like a fan fiction thing we could
How
develop.
many of these dudes
It's
are
probably
there?
been done already.
Are there like thousands of these dudes?
There's lots of them, but
Okay.
that I won't let numbers play a factor here
No,
because
I know. I just wondered because the more numbers,
yeah,
the stronger they get.
yeah, because I was going to say that was going to be one of my first arguments was like, well, there's only 9 of your dudes, and there's like an endless number of mine. So, but since Steven's not letting us use number
well,
as a
I would
factor,
let you have up to 9 Dementors.
up to 9
Dude, I'll even
Dementors.
give you 10 if you want.
Now, here's a quick question, sidebar. We're talking about Dementors dating each other and starting families. What what if they kiss each other? What do you think happens?
Um, I don't know. Do Dementors even have a soul? I don't think they do.
They just feed on
That's how
souls.
they reproduce.
Like,
With their big, giant, gaping mouth holes.
All right. Is it my turn or do you have more? I don't want to.
Yeah, no, that's it as far as abilities goes.
Okay. My abilities, I feel like this is going to be a tough battle because some of the things you say apply to mine as well. Um, Let me just read. I'll lay it all on you right now and then we can go back and forth. Mine can be mistaken as for mortal men. They used to be mortal men. And they can sense the presence of each other. Like if they're near each other, they can see where each other are. Um, they they're more powerful again when they're together. They can't, the more of them that are together, the stronger they are.
oh, there's a theme here.
It says when they're gathered together, none can withstand their fear when all 9 of them are there. Let's see, it says
Oh, it really is kind of the same thing.
yeah. Um they're servants of Sauron though, so they have to do pretty much whatever he says or whatever he wills them to do. But when they're together, they're very powerful. They can't act against Sauron's will, but they're very feared. They're very intelligent. Um, when Sauron had the rings, they were much stronger than when he didn't have the ring. But in the franchise, Sauron's starting to gather his power up again, so they're getting stronger and stronger when they're together. Against them, your bows and arrows are useless. They can blow up your sword. They can make people temporarily dumb. They can use sorcery to destroy things. Like I said earlier, they ride on winged steeds, but also they can hold on, where'd it go? Sorry. My okay. They have something called the Black Breath or the Shadow. And when they put it on somebody or then this person again will have a nightmare and periods of unconsciousness, and in their nightmares they'll be shaking and convulsing, and they wake up. When they wake up, they're discombobulated. So they can control your dreams as well and make you have nightmares. Their main they're invisible. They use invisibility. You can't see them unless you have that ring on that Frodo experimented with. Um, they use terror. They strike fear in living things. Everyone when they're around, everyone else feels dread. They can terrify even humans and animals. Every animal, every human fears them. Every living thing. Um, Even though they can't be seen or heard, and that people can still sense the fear when they're around. Their weapons. They have swords. They have flame daggers, poisonous darts. The main guy, the Witch King, has a big black mace. Um, and he uses a poisonous dagger knife to stab Frodo at one point. That's when Frodo becomes a wraith as well, or starts to become a wraith.
Oh
Let's
yeah, I forgot
see.
about that.
Their aura, they have an aura of dread. Just any time you're around them, you feel dread. And the rings that they wear make them immortal, but they're not in a normal human state. They're in that current state. They're invisible, but they're immortal as long as they have the rings. Um, Let me see. I had one more thing, but I can't read it. Let me see. Things, but they can detect where living things are by the smell of their blood. So lots of similarities. Their
Yeah.
biggest weapon really is the fear they instill in others, but they also have weapons such as poisonous darts and daggers and swords and stuff and a mace.
So
So
I think it's
there you
interesting
go.
because essentially their main jam is basically exactly the same.
Yep.
So
Huh.
like both these characters, like their presence basically causes fear and dread and all that in the people that are surrounding them. So I'm trying to figure out how that would even work because they're near each other. Do like they cause fear and dread in each other?
Or are they going to be like, oh,
Or
dude,
or
how
it's
much
just
fear
like
and
kind
dread
of
did you
cancel
cause
out.
today? Are they going to be like comparing
They're
because they just
bros.
do the same things?
Yeah.
I feel like they'd be more like homies than anything else. Um, so it's kind of interesting because they have this kind of, a lot of the same abilities, except that your guys have like the Nazgûl or whatever. They have like weapons and things like that, where the Dementors don't. Like they're real only like weapon aside from they're basically causing people not to have any motivation to do anything when just by their presence. Is this Dementor's kiss thing? Um, so. It's kind of an interesting idea. I do think, from my understanding, and I couldn't find anything to fully verify this. It's sort of like I was saying earlier, um, with the zombie thing. But anyways, supposedly I read in one area that the mentors might be immortal, but I've also read that they weren't. So I'm not really sure which it is.
Well,
Huh.
the nine are immortal,
As
but
So
long as
I'm
they have
gonna
the
go with
rings.
as long as the
immortal,
rings are involved.
just
The
because
further,
yours are
longer they're
also
away from
mortal.
the rings, the weaker they get.
My
So
thought
we have
process being, my thought process being is that we're gonna try to cancel these two out as much as we possibly can.
these two are so we have two guys that are immortal, cloaked, dreadful beings. I think maybe you
Kevin's
could
might not be immortal, he said.
now I
I
also
think we need to
okay,
remember that.
let's just I also want to okay, let's just say for a moment that Kevin's aren't immortal, okay?
But then there's also way more of them.
Yeah, well, that too, but
We're
also
not using numbers. We already
since
decided that.
let's just assume the Dementors are like this fungus creature that that you were describing earlier. I feel like it's hard to instill fear into something like that, whereas your guys are still at the core things mortal men. So do they have fear? So in a way, can a Dementor cause fear since they do have some
The
like
only one, the only thing mine
flesh?
fear is Sauron. Like they have to do what he says. They can't. I don't know if they
But
fear him, but they just can't physically go against what he says. They're
and I
not
think
able
that's
to.
kind of where I think that's kind of where Dementors have an advantage because they're not subjected to like the will of another being, right? So like they don't have to do what Sauron says. They can do whatever they basically want. I mean, they can function. They do choose to sort of take sides with the Voldemort and the Dark Lord, but they're not controlled by Voldemort. In fact, Voldemort can't control them.
Yeah.
So there's an advantage there because they have more um like personal will, I guess you could say.
So what about between Voldemort and Sauron? Who would win that
Oh,
battle?
Well,
Sauron,
obviously,
100%.
Sauron would definitely. I mean, even I will say if Sauron would like destroy Voldemort, but that's not the battle here. So,
Okay, I win. So do your guys have any weaknesses? Because I mine do. I just don't want to share them.
um, I
They
don't
do.
know. I didn't look up any
They have
weaknesses out of fear that I would find them.
what? You can't do that. They definitely
No,
have a
you know,
weakness.
I couldn't I couldn't really find anything um like substantial as far as that goes.
What did
Not
you
to say
find?
they don't have weaknesses. I just don't really know what those weaknesses are really are.
It's such a big plot point in the third book, bro.
Dude,
Harry,
how
Well,
oh, the Patronus?
yes, the Patronus
That's
charm.
right. Yeah, the Patronuses. Dude, freaking the Nazgûl don't know how to do a Patronus.
I wonder what their Patronus would
I don't
be.
even know what that
A
is.
spider?
Is it like a
I don't,
medallion you wear or something?
That's a
Because I have
charm you
no,
rings.
cast.
it's a
Mine have
spell.
rings.
It's a type of spell.
Oh, well,
But it has to do with it's like the opposite of what a Dementor is. Like Patronus is a spell that like invokes like love and like
mm,
happiness and that sort of thing. And everybody
My
has their own.
my
I could
Like
do
Patronus is
that
an otter.
Patronus thing.
uh,
Mine used to,
yours is
some
an
of the
otter.
nine used to be sorcerers, right?
I
They
don't,
were warriors, sorcerers, kings. They could probably do that.
No,
no, you
okay,
have
hold the
you can't
phone.
not like if you're like a Dark Lord type person, like or an evil person, you can't do a Patronus as far as I know. Is that correct,
Oh, okay.
Stephen?
I'm not sure. I don't have any.
Because Voldemort doesn't have no Patronus.
And
So
it's
there's
not like the nine can control Gandalf and make him do it because they can't control Gandalf either.
no. Gandalf's like the most. He's the boss,
You
man.
shall not pass.
Dude,
Yep.
we missed an opportunity. Gandalf versus Dumbledore. I feel like that's been done
That's been
already.
done. There's an epic rap battle of history about that one.
So, anyways, mine, keep in mind, mine still are super powerful and no one could withstand them when they're all together. Nobody can. None can withstand the fear they produce or they emanate from them. But
I
mine
mean,
are afraid of
Dementors are the
water.
same way though. That's the thing. They're like exactly the
Mine,
same.
mine are afraid of water. Like they can't really do much when there's water around.
Oh,
They're
that's right.
afraid of the sun. They can't really do much in the daylight.
Dementors,
Um,
I don't think could do much in the daylight either. Like
and
they're
Dude,
always in
no,
the dark.
see, the thing
if
is
they get into,
Dementors daylight's not an issue for Dementors because if you think about it, they create darkness.
Oh, that's true. Okay. All right, go ahead,
if
Dave.
mine get into the water, their physical states get ruined. If they don't even cross the water unless they absolutely have to.
So
I
your
don't know,
guys
but
never
I think their
shower.
horses can go across the water, but they can't touch the water. I'm
Your
not
dudes
sure on
probably
them.
stink something fierce, bro.
To be fair, Dementors never shower either, and they are created out of fungus like a fungus from
Decay.
decay, so they
So
probably smell pretty awful.
both of you smell bad then. Okay.
Well, yeah, I don't know how bad mine smell. Maybe they do, but
They
they're
can't
not
get in the
like
water unless they
I
do
know,
like
but
a
they're not like regular human or regular humanoid, whatever beings. They're kind of like they're not ghosts, but they're kind of ghosts. I don't know. Maybe you probably can't smell them unless you put the ring on. No way
I
you can.
I
You
just
can sense.
I just think this is hard because like the main their powers are so similar, and then the Dementors have the Dementor's kiss, but and I know I'm probably shooting myself in the foot
So
here. I
let's
don't know
do
how a
this.
Dementor's kiss would affect a member of the Nine. Like I don't know how that would.
I
I
have
don't
an
know that
idea. Think about Steven when you're judging, because right now I can't really think of anything else. Like if there's water involved, I'm pretty much screwed probably. But think about how evil and how powerful are these two different beings in their respective franchises, and how much did they wreck things in there? I guess it's not. I don't know if you can use that a lot because it's not going against each other. But if you think about that, you might be able to. I don't know.
like the scale of their power and within
Yeah,
the
kind of
universe
like
that
the
they are.
ratio of evilness
Interesting.
to goodness in the franchise. I don't know.
I've never considered that before in one of these throwdowns.
But yeah, well, it's not something we would consider in a throwdown really, but when they're so similar like this, you might sort of have to
It
have
kind of
them in a
reminds me of
little
the
bit.
Robin Hood and uh
Daryl Dixon.
Daryl Dixon, where they're like kind of the same.
Man, you guys have given me a lot to think about. I didn't think this would be that challenging. Man, I've never been this close to
This is
doing a
hard
draw.
for Steven because he loves both of these.
I've never been this close to doing a draw before. I won't
Did you?
do a draw,
Yes, you
but
will. Do it. Do it.
If
but
I was
I
judge, I could tell you who would win, but I'll do that after you make your
um
your ruling.
oh man, this is really I'm still going
Do
back and
it.
forth. All
Do
right,
it.
quote game. Give me some
Do it.
quotes.
I don't
I
have
don't
quotes.
have any quotes.
I don't think either one of them say anything actually.
So I think they both kind of just make noises.
And
Okay,
they both look very scary. Mine, like something on here I read about the smell, so you guys are right. Like mine, their smell puts fear into people as well. I read that somewhere.
man, is there any smells that you have that instantly give you fear when you smell
Smells
them?
that instantly give me fear. Dude, C.
I
diff.
bust the gas and I don't want people to know, but I'm the only one around it.
C
I don't
diff.
know if I don't know if you guys ever smelled someone with
I
C.
have.
diff,
C
but
diff's awful.
it is like the worst thing ever. Dude,
Gives
and
you
then when you
instills
smell it,
fear.
because it's so contagious, C. diff is incredibly contagious. So like when I smell it, I'm always like, oh man, I hope I don't get C. diff. That'd be like the worst thing ever.
Dude, do ring wraiths and Dementors have C diff?
I I mean maybe. No, I don't think so because they're too functional. You can't really function with C. diff. You're too busy. You're like David, if ain't last night. Like you can't like
You just can't stop pooping, man.
you
And it
can't.
smells so bad.
It smells awful. David, if you've never smelled C. diff, you don't want to.
Don't ever do it.
Okay. This is why I did not go into the medical profession.
I've only smelled it once, and
You know, you know what
forever
smells
in my
really,
mind.
really, you know what smells really bad, actually, even worse than C. diff is like cancer. Like if a cancer is exposed to a point where you can actually smell it, it is like that's exactly what I picture a Dementor or a
Oh
Nazgûl smelling
yeah,
like is cancer. It smells so awful. It's like instant death. Like when you smell it, you're
that,
just like it
that's
smells like
probably a
death.
very accurate way to describe the Dementors or these ring wraiths, the Nazgûl. All right. Well, so between the two, Lord of the Rings is by far my preferred. Like I love Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all things Tolkien. All right, that's like I like Harry Potter, but it's like a Lord of the Rings is almost a spiritual thing for me.
Nerd.
So as a franchise, I
It
prefer
is
Lord of
though.
the Rings.
It parallels
Um,
with the gospel.
yes, it parallels with my faith a little bit, as well as just I don't know, just really my daughter is named after a Lord of the Rings character, so
Nerd.
it's it's uh it's very important to me. Harry Potter is
Uh,
also important to me. It's nostalgic. I grew up on Harry Potter, really love it. I have a lot of fond
well,
memories reading those books. I
well,
love going to Universal.
G.I. Joe is a very religious experience for me. No, I'm just kidding.
I love going to Universal Studios. I have a wand. I have two wands actually. So Harry Potter is also important to me, but
You realize the more you talk, the more dorky you're sounding, right?
Yeah,
but
you sound
less
like a
important to me than Lord of the Rings.
dude.
However,
David, is it me or are you surprised that this man is married and has a child on account of how nerdy he
I
is?
think the daughter's name was his wife's idea, though.
it was actually. So,
I still refuse to believe this.
but when you make, so I think when you talk about the scale, Dave, I think within the world that they exist, the Nazgûl are a more powerful being as far as the Dementors are powerful, but they don't have a lot of like there's no government for them really. They just have each other. They kind of do their own thing. Whereas the Nazgûl, like they're basically there's Sauron, then there's the Nazgûl. So they're really feared, and I think they're more powerful in their respective storylines.
I might agree with that.
However, I think put against each other because the water thing, I think I got to give it to Dementors, bro. The
Yes.
water is it. Like if they didn't have that
Here's, I
irrational fear
agree
of
with
water,
you.
I think they would win. But the water screws them up big time because Azkaban, where all the Dementors hang out, is an island surrounded by like ocean. So Like it's
Plus,
an island fortress of prison. So I don't know how well that would work.
I agree with you, unfortunately. And I know I didn't bring this up. I think I mentioned it, but without Sauron, like they he's the one that they have to follow what he says. And also the longer they're without their rings, the weaker they get.
Yeah.
Like the longer Sauron's without his rings, the weaker my dudes get. Um, so yeah, I don't think that Dementors ever will lessen in strength because depending on someone else who's in charge of them. So
Now, if the Nazgûl could cast a Patronus charm, they would win. But I don't think that's in their arsenal of skills.
yeah, I
I'm
didn't
pretty
even
sure it's
think
not.
about I didn't even think about that. Maybe in their
Maybe
previous
Gandalf could.
the one thing
Get
too, like I think that mine, I don't know, maybe not the Nazgûl, but when Frodo started to get taken over by this, eventually Sam helped him come out of it. Like, could the Nazgûl eventually go back to their noble when the
oh,
days when they're noble kings, or they're too far taken?
I don't know. That's never
If
really.
if Sauron, or I guess I don't know because they're not in human state or anything, but I don't know. Like, if Sauron was away from them long enough, could they revert back to being good? When Kevin said the Dementors, whenever they can't, and whenever you do that kiss of whatever, the person's pretty much done. You can't come back from that, but you can come back from some of the things the Nazgûl can do if you're not
I would
Word.
love.
too far advanced.
Well, I would take the victory for sure.
Yes.
Especially since I lost last time and I had to ground my child. Um, no, I didn't do that as much as I wanted to. I'm still salty about it, by the way.
Um. Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes. You know, each person delivers their case, and the judge has
I'll
to make it.
accept my defeat. Usually I don't like to accept defeat. Usually I'm like my defeats I think aren't really defeats, but this time I think it is. So
All right. Well, that's appreciated that you accept. So Dave, you're judge next on one of these, and you have to assign us characters. So make sure you assign us characters.
And we've sort of done a theme, and like Kevin chose two similar characters,
singular.
similar characters.
It doesn't have to be a theme like ours was. It's just
I had one the other day or even last night and I forgot what it was. So I can't really text it to you on this podcast, but I'll send it to you
All right.
oh,
soon.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. If you haven't had a chance, Kevin and I just recently did a discussion about the new Alien Romulus movie on our other podcast, the Brothers Born podcast. Feel free to check that out. And we had a couple throwdowns. We've done Joel Miller versus Zorro. What did we do before that? Was it Stormtrooper? I thought there was one
I think
more.
so. Yeah. No, didn't we do them, Brendan?
There's some good stuff out there, though. Check it out. And thanks for hanging out with us today. And we will catch you next time on Unlikely Road.
Adios.
Bye.